Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Someone described photojournalists as a rare and admirable, if crazy, breed. I'm not sure if the man we're going to hear about was ever crazy, although I'm sure there were times when he thought, why on earth am I doing this? I must be mad. But in many ways, he was a rare man and truly admired by those who knew him and worked with him. A great photographer and a wonderful man. Ladies and gentlemen, here to talk about the work of Tom Stoddart, who died last year, is his former photo editor, colleague, and his friend, Aidan Sullivan.
Tom was not only one of the most talented, dedicated, and passionate photographers of his generation, he was truly a remarkable man. He was always giving and never asking for anything in return. He was quite simply the very best of us. I first met Tom almost 45 years ago. I arrived in Fleet Street, bright-eyed and determined to be a news photographer. I was so naive. I didn't know anybody, and I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I met Tom the very first week I arrived, and he immediately became my North Star. Even back then, at the very beginning of his career, he was so talented, smart, and wise, and was already making a name for himself, working for some of the leading publications. And this was in an era when photojournalism and newspapers were still widely supported and respected. I was always 3 steps behind Tom. I watched him grow as he became one of the most talented and revered photographers of his generation, covering major news events around the world and recording it, history as he saw it. And those extraordinary images will be his lasting legacy. When it came to an assignment, Tom was always laser-focused and driven. He was going to be the first one to arrive at the scene, get the most important pictures, be the first one to get those pictures back to the paper, and he was going to get that coveted front-page exclusive, and nothing was going to stand in his way. In 1989, I got a call telling me that my friend Ian Parry, who was working for me at the Sunday Times, had been killed, leaving war-torn Romania. His plane had been shot down as it left Bucharest airport. I flew there to collect Ian's body, and sitting beside me on that heartbreaking flight bringing Ian home was Tom. And he has been at my side in one way or another since the day I met him. In 1994, I got another call, this time from Tom's agent. Tom had been injured during a mortar attack in Sarajevo. The blast sent him flying over a wall, which shattered his leg and shoulder. He was pinned down by a sniper for 4 hours, finally being dragged to safety by a TV crew. He spent the night in an elevator shaft with no morphine. Tom was freelancing and wasn't working for anyone, but I quickly put him on assignment, which meant I could use the Sunday Times insurance policy that allowed me to send a medevac to fly him home. I went to the airport to meet him that night with Ray Wells. The plane landed, and he was loaded onto the ambulance, and as it came to a halt, the doors opened, and there he was, looking pretty banged up. Ever the joker, he looked up at me and said, "Well, that must have cost a fortune. Can I pay you back at £5 a week?" He, of course, paid me back 1,000 times over with his friendship and his support. I've known Tom for almost my entire adult life. I've shared tears and laughter with him, but I've never seen him happier than when he was with his beloved wife, Elsa. Finally, after all these years of living a solitary life, dedicated to documenting the sorrow, pain, and sometimes great happiness of others. He had finally found his soulmate, and he reveled in every moment they spent together. Tom loved being a photographer, a career he would always describe as being a champagne lifestyle on a beer salary. And despite being recognized as a giant in our industry, he would constantly mentor and inspire young emerging talent. In the hours after his passing, I received dozens of emails from photographers who all said if it hadn't been for Tom and his guidance, they would never have carried on. I will miss my friend, but he will always be with me at my side, and his powerful archive of images will guarantee he is never forgotten. Thank you.
Thank you, Aidan, and wherever you are, thank you, Tom. We have a break now before our next presentation, so we'll see you back here in a while. Thank you very much indeed.